Al, welcome to the More Cheese, Less Whiskers.com podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and this is a very exciting episode. This is really, I think you're in for a treat. Let's say that. I started out talking with Brian Mertins, who is a he's got a very unique set of skills that I had never heard of. He's got several products in the nature market. He's got how to read the secrets of a forest and awaken your naturalist intelligence and bird language blueprint. And what he does is he helps people tune in to nature. And one of the things that he's really passionate about is bird language and the things that we can understand from the bird calls. And so we spent a great amount of time trying to hone in on who the actual audience for who he's speaking with. And then we actually crafted a email to send to his audience live on the show here, live while we were within the hour having the conversation. So I think you are really going to enjoy this exploration of target audiences and passions and what drives people, what are their motivators, and especially the ending where we send a live message to his audience with a very specific offer. So enjoy this episode, and I will see you on the other side. This call is being recorded. Wow. Brian Mertins, how are you?
Hey, Dean Jackson. Good. Yeah, how are you doing?
I am getting over a man cold, so that's what we're dealing with.
Okay.
But I feel actually better than I sound, so that's good. Progress.
Good. Yeah, glad to hear it.
So, Brian, where are you calling from?
I am in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Wow. Okay. I spend a lot of time in Canada. I'm actually a dual citizen. I'm Canadian myself.
Nice. Yeah, you're from Toronto, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
so,
I spent... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you spend what?
I spent the first part of my life in London, so I live close to Toronto.
Well, how do you like that? I spent the first 2 weeks of my life in Newfoundland. That's actually where I was born.
Nice.
Yes, my mother is from Newfoundland, and my father was in the U.S. Air Force, stationed in Stephenville. So that's how I came into the world, right there. That's how I got my dual citizenship. My dad's U.S., my mom's Canadian, and I was born on a U.S. Air Force base in Canada. So I'm covered every way you could possibly be.
Wow.
So tell me about your business and what you do and what kind of evil schemes we're going to hatch today.
Yeah. I have been starting a business. I do information marketing, and what I do is create courses that teach about, I guess you would call it nature connection. I teach people about nature and like how to get closer to animals and how to make good observations about plants and trees and things like that.
Okay. Wow. So that's kind of an interesting business model. I've never heard of anything like it. So how is it going? What's the how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, what I have right now is I have created a few different courses, and I have the thing that's really the main thing that's working for me right now is I created this free video, and it teaches how to read the secrets of a forest, and so people can register for this video, and then there's the offer that goes with it is an audio course called Awaken Your Naturalist Intelligence.
Okay.
And so that's that's kind of how it's set up right now. I mean, what I'm working on is I'm trying to get my average customer value high enough to a point where I can do advertising. Because right now I'm not sure that I really have enough being generated per subscriber for it to be worth my while to do advertising, and so I'm not really able to scale it up. But I would like to get to that point, and so.
How much does your Awaken Your Naturalist Intelligence sell for?
That sells for $27.
Okay. And what else have you got? What other is in your product lineup?
Yeah, I have a program called the Nature Memory Journal. It's like a journaling template that helps you make better observations by journaling. That sells for $7. It's like a very introductory thing. Then I have a Steady Natural Skill Builders course, which is like for people who are struggling building their routines, like they're having troubles with motivation and getting themselves to actually do the work, like to actually get outside and do the exercises. So getting more consistent with their routines, and that sells for $47. And then I have the Bird Language Blueprint, which is a step-by-step course that teaches people how to locate wild animals by listening to the alarms of birds, and that sells for $97.
Okay. And what's your most popular product?
My most popular product is the Awaken Your Naturalist Intelligence program.
Okay. So is that program, is that $27, or do you have a more in-depth program that sells for more?
That's the program that sells for $27. Yeah.
Okay. And what do people get out of this? Like, what's the payoff here for people? I'm trying to, what I look for, and normally I'm looking to find the desire that this is fulfilling, right? Like sometimes it's easy when we know that there's major drivers of things. So something that is a built-in market driver is pain and urgency. So somebody, like I have a product called Stop Your Divorce, and that is pain and urgency. Somebody has told them that they want a divorce, and they are immediately put into this pain, and there's an urgency of wanting to get out of it. Anybody who's in any kind of like acute onset physical pain or a diagnosed condition of thyroid or something that is going to throw people into kind of this emotional urgency to solve that is a great primary driver. Another one is the idea of trading dimes for dollars. So a lot of the things that I do are driven by people's desire to make more money. And so our whole organization is set up to help people make more money. And the idea is that they're trading a little bit of money for a roadmap, an idea, a structure that gets them more money. So the payoff on the investment is more money. Another one is I call it irrational passion. And that's something like people who are just passionate about something, golfers or Harley owners or grandparents, things like that, where there's no sense of rational things about it. They're spending because they want to um, fuel that passion that they have. And is that who we're speaking to here, or is there another desire or need or payoff that isn't clearly obvious?
Right. Yeah. I have such a hard time nailing it down. And this is something I've thought a lot about. I think it's probably, there's a little bit of both, but it might be more on the sort of irrational passion side of things. Like the way that I can think it's sort of the way that I can think of like explaining it to people who sort of aren't familiar with the concept is like wilderness survival, like how to start fires by rubbing sticks together. That's like a hard skill of wilderness survival, and people will they love that kind of stuff, and a lot of people will go through just a lot just to learn those sorts of skills. I teach more like the soft skills of wilderness survival. So things like how to predict the weather by looking at clouds, and there is an aspect of like there's a lot of people who I communicate with who I sort of would be like people who are interested in what I do. They're a little bit concerned. Like there's a concern about the state of the environment, and I've always thought that that's kind of like a pain point. Like they're just looking around at the world and seeing that things are things in our environment are being destroyed, and that people are getting away from just having a basic connection to the natural world, and so they make decisions that doesn't support the flourishing of our the long term of our planet. And so
Okay, and I mean, as we're talking this out, like I'm listening to the markets, like, so wilderness survival is one thing that there's a tangible skill that would come at the end of it. Environmentalists, that's kind of a, it's different than wilderness survival. I think that there's some element of the, spirituality or mindfulness that would be connected to nature, which is again and you can see as I'm describing these that these would be different audiences, right? Somebody who's interested in like wilderness survival, the way you were describing that. How to start a fire with 2 sticks and how to read the weather and listen for and all those things. That's a different person that you visualize than when you start talking about connecting with nature and being the mindfulness of it and the peace and the meditation of it sort of thing. That's a different person again, right? What else? Let's just kind of explore a couple of other things here, and then maybe we can maybe explore what it might look to amplify one of those versus the other, because it sounds like your first need is to try and figure who the audience is, so we can craft a good message for them. Because Awaken Your Naturalist Intelligence is different than wilderness survival. And it doesn't sound like wilderness survival is really that's not your thing from what I'm reading. It sounds like you're more along that lines of Awaken Your Naturalist Intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, how I got into it was through this idea of eco-psychology, and it's like how how going into nature and just paying attention, using your five senses to look at things like birds and plants and trees and learning to understand what's happening, that actually has an effect on the human mind. And so I was always really
now
into
we're getting somewhere. Tell me more about that. See, now we're going somewhere here, right? Now we're on the, we've already got 4 quadrants here of things. Wilderness survival is a one very distinct thing, which you could definitely go down. Environmentalists, that's another realm. The spiritual, the mindfulness, meditation sort of element of it is one thing. And then eco-psychology, now you got a completely different flavor, that this is, there's so many neuro hackers that they're all over this place, that there's, people go to float tanks and people do all kinds of things to try and get a performance edge. And is that kind of, describe to me some of the greatest things you learned about eco-psychology? I've never heard those words before.
Yeah, well, my own personal experience has been that I can be inside working on something and maybe I'm trying to get something done and just struggling with it and feeling like blocked or stressed out, and just going outside and sitting down and doing like a sense meditation, like just listening to what's happening around me and getting tuned in and just slowing down all my rhythms so that I can just be present. It clears all that out, and then I can think more clearly and I can approach my day more effectively. And I guess for me, I struggle with because once I started doing that, I really I feel like the thing that has been most powerful for me in doing that is actually like almost doing it without expectations of having an effect on my mind. Like I just do it because I love tracking, or I love learning about birds, and so I'm having a hard time sort of tying those together because I don't know if everyone would see it that way.
Okay, so that's really what your passion is. It's not tied to a performance outcome or anything like that. It's really you feel better that way, right? Is that what you're saying, kind of thing?
Yeah, like for me, I started it because I wanted to have higher performance in my life, but the reason I do it now is because I love it. So it's I've had a hard time getting really clear on who I'm communicating with, because I'm not supposed to be communicating with myself. I'm trying to communicate with a single group of people, and I think I get them mixed up.
Yeah, because it's definitely you're definitely going in different directions here when we mention these different appeals here. And the bird language blueprint, it's interesting that that's your most expensive product. Why is that? Why is the bird language blueprint more than the natural skill builders? Or what have you discovered about that? Yeah.
I made that one more expensive because it's what I'm best at. and I think the quality of the content is the best, and it's I think the most pinpointed in terms of who it's for. Like really, what it's designed for is like a basic bird, like an American robin, a songbird. They make sounds, and some of those sounds are alarm calls, and you can actually use those alarm calls to locate cats, like bobcats or mountain lions. You can use them to locate owls, and so the whole purpose of that course, there's really just one purpose of that course, and it's to help people find wild animals by listening to bird language. And so it feels like it just feels like of everything that I've done, that's probably the best thing that I've done. So.
So, do you ever where you live? Do you live in a rural area? Do you live in nature? What's your life like?
I have I have trees in my backyard. It's not like a huge area. I have to I'm in sort of a subdivision, but it's kind of like a forested subdivision. So
yeah. And then where do you go when you want to get out in nature? Where do you go? Is there a national park near you, or is there forest, or do you live near the ocean? What do you and are you calling nature specifically the forest?
Well, actually, typically what I do is I just go into my backyard because there's actually a lot that happens in just like in your own backyard, and it's easier to get into your own backyard than to go like out to a national park. So that's sort of one of the lessons that I've learned is like rather than trying to find the perfect wilderness place with like the ideal physical like environmental conditions, just do what's convenient, but focus on your own personal engagement with the world. Like if you can actually approach your own backyard with like 10 times your usual level of awareness and just listening at a deeper level, you can notice the exact same things that happen in a national park are happening in your own backyard. So.
Wow. Okay. So, wondering aloud here, because where I was going to maybe think about that is, do you ever do retreats or events or live, get-togethers?
I haven't done too much of that. I think if I were going to do that, I'd want to have like a partner or some other people kind of doing it with me.
What would be what's your aspiration here? Like what is it? What's your end goal here for the business? What is it that you want from it?
I would really like. See, when I tried to learn this stuff, I wanted to learn bird language and wildlife tracking, and I had to actually travel to the west coast of the United States, and I had to save up money for a really long time, and I spent all my money going to this place just to learn this stuff. And when I finished at that school, I was like, man, I wish there was a way that people could learn this online, like a home study sort of version. And there are some home study options out there, but I think that there's a lot of potential for there to be more. I mean, I get people visiting my website from all around the world, and most of them don't have the ability to go to the United States and study at a special school for 2 years. So that's kind of where I was approaching it from, is to just make that available as like an online thing.
Right. And that's one of the certainly most irrationally passionate audiences are bird watchers, for sure, right? I mean, that's a proven, there's people who that's their whole thing, right? I had a good friend who was, he would, travel, and his whole thing was to, spot as many birds as he possibly could. He had his whole bird journal, and he would read in these parts where there were these certain rare birds that had been spotted, and some of them are only there for this short period of time and things. Is this kind of a sub niche of the bird watching world, or is it something different?
It might be. I kind of think of it more as like bird watchers are interested in finding like rare birds or unusual birds.
Yeah.
They're trying to see as many different birds as possible.
That was what my friend was into. Yeah.
Yeah, bird language is more about it's more like wildlife tracking, like finding tracks on the ground and evidence of animals. It's more about taking one bird and learning it so well that you can understand when it's agitated and when it's feeling pressure from a predator, and then using that observation to actually find like a wild animal. So it's kind of more like tracking.
Okay. This would be like, is that a whole other world that people do animal tracking, kind of the way that people do the birds? Like the birds are a conduit to help them find the other wild animals?
Yeah, it's not. I would say wildlife tracking is not as popular as bird watching.
Right.
But maybe because it's a harder skill to get into. Like it's not as easy to find tracks as it is to find birds. But there is a sizable audience for that.
Okay. And like the way I'm looking for you here is that it's going to be very difficult to build a business that can sustain you from selling $47 or even $97 products in a niche market, without a crystal clear thing. I mean, something like, Stop Your Divorce, we've sold more than $5 million worth of that one book at $79, but it's a very specific, pain and urgent. There's a very specific audience, and the demand for it is built in. What would you? And the reason that works is because once somebody goes through that situation, they're immediately searching for the answer for this. So what would you say is the way, one of the languages that we use are the pains and the gains and the jobs to be done of this market? Like, what is the it's not a pain driven thing. They're certainly not that. So what would they be seeking? Because you've really got sort of an invisible audience, right?
Right.
So what would they be seeking? How do you find them now? What's your method to come in contact with them?
Yeah. Well, I haven't done a lot of experimenting with this, but just because I haven't been confident that I have enough profitability to do advertising. But if I were going to try and find them on Facebook, I would look for people who are interested and have books by Tom Brown Jr. He's a guy who sold a lot of books on the topic of tracking, and I would look for people who are interested in books about nature already, and sort of that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know how else I would really approach it other than that.
So how big is that market, would you say? Have you done some searching on Facebook? Are there pages, groups, places where people gather?
Yes, there are large groups of people that are interested in those things. I can't exactly remember the numbers right now. But I mean, Tom Brown, his books have probably sold hundreds of thousands of copies, if not more than that. So
yeah. So so there's a market. It's just tapping into the right thing. If somebody that's Facebook certainly gathering those people. So there's the thought leaders, the people that they would gather. There's a identity that they would have, like bird watchers would certainly gather with other bird watchers. But whatever this niche is that you are defining, what I'm looking for, I guess, is how would they define themselves so that you can at least find them, And so you've got this Tom Brown Jr. As an example here. Would you have a sense of how many people are? Does he have a Facebook page, or is there a Facebook group that would give you a sense of how many people like that? Because that's who you can target as we, as you try and identify them.
I think he does have a Facebook page, yeah. I don't know if it's specifically run by him. It might be run by his students or something.
Sure, Tom Brown Jr. fan page or some, and there may be people who like this also like this kind of, you might have some peripheral things there. How active are you? Do you have a Facebook page that you're hosting, that you are kind of gathering a community?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page, and it's not, social media is not necessarily a strength for me. I sort of mainly just use it to when I publish articles. I publish an article once a week, and so I mostly just put that on there.
Okay. And so how many people would you have as an audience right now that you, whether people have liked your Facebook page or they've opted in, or do you do any kind of weekly newsletter or email to this group?
Yeah, I have most of my followers are on Facebook or email or on YouTube, and I think it would probably be anywhere in the range of like 750 to 1,000 people total. Okay.
So that's part of it, that that may be enough. Like I think I would kind of look at potentially doing some kind of an event or some kind of gathering, because that's where you're going to be able to have a little bit more revenue. You got a higher price point opportunity. If you were to spend time with these people, right? Like if you were to imagine spending a weekend with people, what would you say would be a weekend that they would definitely love to be part of?
I mean, what I'm thinking is to have go to some sort of natural location where we can do like camping or something, and basically just lead them in different nature activities and exercises for the weekend.
Yeah. And, I think that is that something that you would enjoy, do you think?
I would enjoy it if I had partners, like if I were doing it in a team.
Do you know somebody who could do it with you?
I have friends distant. Like I don't have anyone local, so I'd have to connect with them a little bit and convince them to come here or do it somewhere else. But I do know some people.
So and part of that is you're just not comfortable being the center of it, kind of thing, or where's your hesitance there? What's your
I mean, I'm
nervous, right? I mean, there are nerves about it, right? Like, is that part of it, that you're, because you've never done anything like that? Is that right? I mean,
I've sort of, I've helped on programs like that. I'm good at coming up with the ideas and like creating a plan and being there to support the leaders and that kind of stuff. But and I'm good at like delivering key points of content. Like if they're like I can do like a master class in bird language or something. I can do that no problem. But I get totally drained if I spend too much time doing like detail stuff with large groups of people.
I get it. And I'm talking about a large group. You're an introvert, right? That's part of it. Yeah, I am too. I've for years and years and years, we did, big real estate marketing events. We'd have 600 or 800 people every single month, and it's draining. And about 4.5 years ago, I started doing these small group events where I would have 10 or 12 people, and I do it right here in my backyard, and literally, in Celebration, at the Celebration Hotel. It's a beautiful boardroom, and I invite 10 or 12 people, and we spend 3 days just completely going deep on applying the 8 profit activators to their business. And I remember the first time that the first event that I did, I'd had a conversation with Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach, and we were talking about this idea of what would motivate you and fascinate you for the rest of your life. And I said, I really love applying the 8 profit activators to all kinds of different businesses, but I like to do it in a small group, not in 500-person events. It's just too much logistics and too much people. Really, I'm much better in a small group. And so I got off the phone with Dan, and we kind of conceived this idea of doing these Breakthrough Blueprint events. And I went over and reserved the boardroom at the Celebration Hotel, and I sent out an email to my list, and I said, hey, I'm doing a small group 3-day mastermind in Orlando to go deep in applying the 8 profit activators to your business. Would you like to join us? And I just sent that message out, and I got all these people responding saying, oh, that sounds great. Tell me more. When is it? How much is it? What's the situation? And so I wrote an email that just explained what we were going to do, and I explained the whole environment, exactly that conversation that I just had with you about how I'd been doing the big events, and that this was something that I really enjoy to do. The environment is a really cool format, 10 to 12 people, and just said what we were going to do. And it's $5,000, and it would be great if you could come and just let me know if you're in. And so I sent that out and then sent the replies, and people would reply saying, I'm in. And so I did that first event. It was awesome. And then buoyed by that, I did another one in Toronto. And, fast forward 4 years later, and I'm doing 9 or 10 of those events a year, and all driven by the same process, the same email. So I'm wondering, because you've got nothing to lose here by potentially trying something like that. I'm not talking about maybe getting 1,000 or 100 people or a big group, but might be nice, even if it was, 6 or 8 or 10 people, to get your feet wet, or to get, just get that kind of experience, get that to experiment and see whether that's something that people might even enjoy, And it's a no-fail way of testing something too, in a way, because you've got the opportunity to just send out an email to the 750 or 1,000 people that you have right now and say that same thing, just set a date and, send out a message that says, hey, I'm getting together with a small group to do a weekend of whatever you would describe what it is. If you were to say, if it was the, because your product is called Bird Language Blueprint, isn't it? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because mine's a breakthrough blueprint, but your Bird Language Blueprint, is saying, I'm getting together with a small group. We're going to spend a weekend in the field going over the Bird Language Blueprint. Would you like to join us? Just that, where you're not sort of putting it out there and announcing this event and doing those things. You can send that email, and if nobody replies, nothing lost. You don't have to do anything, right? And you didn't put it out there. It's not a failure because you didn't put it out there and announce it and try and convince everybody to come to it. You just asked whether that would be something that people would be interested in. I had an experience in Australia. The first event that I did, actually the second event that I did in Australia, there's a guy, Mike Monday, and he's a music producer. And he would sell, just like you, he's a introverted guy. He would have products that ranged from $47, $97, never sold them anything more than $97, but he had a really great audience who loved him and loved the stuff that he did. And he's the real deal. I mean, he was DJ that, traveled all over the world. It was his life making music. And so now he coaches and teaches people how to make music their life. And he came to my Breakthrough Blueprint in Australia, in Sydney, and we sat in the room, and I had him at one of the breaks. We went downstairs and booked the boardroom that we were in for that event for 6 weeks or 8 weeks out from when it was. And this was late August, so he booked it for early October. And then we went back upstairs and sent an email to just his Australian subscribers. I think there were 900 of his Australian subscribers, and he sent out exactly that message that I'm describing to you, where he said the subject line was Sydney Music Mastermind, and then he said, "Hey Brian, I'm doing I'm getting together with a small group of people in Sydney for a 2-day music mastermind weekend to go deeper in applying all the make music your life things that we talk about. Would you like to join us? And pressed send on that while we were there. And, he was so nervous because it was so, when you're doing something like that, it takes a lot of courage the first time, right? Because you don't know, and nobody likes rejection. So I understand that completely, right? Like I understand that you would be nervous to send out a message like that. But he got all these replies back from people saying, "Oh, that would be great. I would love that. When is it? Tell me the details." And he sent it out and did a nice email just describing what he was going to do, and that it was $1,000. And $1,000 was the highest number that I could get him to even imagine charging these people, right? Because he never sold them more than $97 for anything. And so when we sent that out, and literally within moments of sending out the email, he had his first people saying, "I'm in." And, that completely changed everything for him, because you can imagine seeing just the look on his face going from like that nervousness first, and then hope when people started replying saying, "Oh, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more." Now you gauge how interested people are by how much they respond, because remember, you haven't mentioned any price. You haven't mentioned any of the details. You're just getting a gauge on whether that would be something somebody is interested in. And there's no harm in that,
Right.
Let's do it today. Let's just send that group an email and say, "Hey, I'm doing a whatever you want to call it, a weekend." Or maybe even if you softened it and said, "Hey, I'm thinking of doing a weekend in the spring to spend 2 days really going deep on the bird language blueprint." Or what would you? I don't know the language of how you speak to people, but
I like that. It would be something along those lines, and my mind is just spinning a little bit right now. I'm thinking about it, and so
right.
It would be something along those lines. I don't know exactly what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Let's wordcraft it right now, because the odds of you doing it are going to go up if we can get the right words for you. And this could literally change your life if we do this. You've got enough of an audience right now. They know who you are. They look at you as an authority. They're thankful for the work that you're doing. And there's a group of those 1,000 people who already know that if they had the chance to spend a weekend with you, that would be a valuable thing. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Okay, then let's give them the opportunity. We're not trying to convince people to come to this.
Right.
There's already a group. You're giving the people who already want to the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way you have to think of it. So, okay. So let's, what are we going to call it? We'll call it Bird Language Weekend.
I think that sounds good. Bird Language Weekend.
Okay. That's the subject line. We're halfway there.
Okay.
Bird Language Weekend. Okay. Now, then we're going to go and we'll say, "Hi, Brian. I'm planning a bird language weekend. Is it, would the spring be a good time for?
Yeah, spring would be perfect, like May or June.
Okay, this spring to spend a couple of days. I'm just wordsmithing this as we go here. I'm planning a bird language weekend this spring to spend a couple of days. What would you say would be the right word? Because I would say, for my breakthrough blueprint, I'd say going deep on applying the 8 profit activators to your business. So, what would be the equivalent? A couple of days, really exploring our bird language skills, or
that could work.
Well, that's okay. It's like sometimes I'll make a word palette here, like bird language skills. I'll just kind of write down the words here. Bird language skills. Would you call it bird watching or bird? Because it's different than bird watching, right?
Yeah, the bird language skills is definitely more relatable, I think.
Okay. I'm planning a bird language weekend this spring to spend a couple of days with a small group, really honing our bird language skills.
Yeah, I like that.
This is great, right?
Or even with a small group, spend a couple days with a small group. You could even do like really going deep with our bird language skills.
Yeah, I said honing, but is there really going deep? Is that? Does that make sense? Or?
Yeah, it does. That I think both versions would match the way that people talk. So,
how would you say it if you saw them at Starbucks? That's what I'm looking for, right? So I look at that kind of language and say, "Hi, Brian. I'm planning a bird language weekend this spring. Spend a couple of days with a small group, really going deep with or honing our or."
Yeah, it would be going deep with.
Okay, going deep. Okay, that's great. Going deep with our bird language skills. Would you like to join us? How do you have your list organized here? Do you have them in, like, do you have a autoresponder? How do you communicate with them?
I have an autoresponder, and once they get through the autoresponder, they go on to a main list, and that's the list. I send a new, like an article, some sort of piece of content every Friday.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let's send it right now. Are you online?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. Let me just open up my account here.
This is going to be a great thing for you. And I think, this is great. We'll just live craft it right here.
So the subject line was bird.
Bird language weekend.
Bird language weekend.
Now, do you have ability to put first name?
For some of them I do. But I had my list originally on Aweber, and I wasn't collecting the first name there, and so when I transferred them over, those ones I can't do it for.
Okay. So let's say, let's not even put anything in there. Even if you just say, even if you just said hi, ... I'm planning a bird. Okay, there you go. Hi, ... I'm planning a bird language weekend this spring.
Yeah.
To spend a couple of days with a small group. Really going deep bird language skills. And then a new paragraph, would you like to join us?
Right.
Brian. And then scroll down a few spaces, so you're going to have some depth here, and then put some just a couple of dots just to separate, just not to hide your unsubscribe stuff, but to separate it from the message here, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So read it back to me.
All right. It says, "Hi, I'm planning a bird language weekend this spring to spend a couple of days with a small group really going deep on our bird language skills. Would you like to join us? Brian."
Perfect. There we go. Go ahead and press send. All very exciting.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean,
are you getting some adrenaline?
Yeah, I'm definitely it's definitely pushing my comfort zone.
Right.
But actually,
I love it.
going into this, Dean, I was hoping that we would be able to figure out some sort of email to send today, and I didn't know really what it would be, whether it would be. I certainly wasn't expecting it would be this, but yeah, I was hoping that we would do something like this. So.
Well, that's great, and I think that this could be. Imagine if this is something that they really want. This is what we're going to know definitively. We're going to either get crickets, or you're going to get people who say, "Wow, that sounds like a great idea."
Right.
And when you do, that's then, you're onto something here, We're certainly going to gauge that response. So I love that you took the courage to do that. So I want to acknowledge that, because that's, that takes some courage to do it. But I think this is a really great growth opportunity for you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think, imagine you get to where, if this kicks off, that you can travel the world to all the greatest nature places and bring your audience with you, bring your people,
Yeah,
it's kind of,
I do like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing, right? Where you can go. I mean, that's the greatest thing in the world. I mean, all summer long, I go to Toronto, to London, to Amsterdam, to Sydney. And everywhere I go, I'm doing these Breakthrough Blueprint events, and I get to meet so many great people. Like in London, we got a real family of people there. That they come to every event. Same thing in Sydney and Amsterdam. We got last year was the first year I did Amsterdam, but now we've got a really great group of people. A lot of those are coming back already, have already booked for the event in July. So I think, that could be a really great thing for you. And then it becomes about getting just really documenting all this stuff, like while you're there, doing things that you're fueling your YouTube and your Instagram and your Facebook. You're constantly documenting everything that's going on, and people get to experience it vicariously and build that desire that I want to come to the next time he does one of those. I'm definitely doing it.
Okay. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what would you suggest, or how would you approach pricing for something like this?
What's the number that you would feel? How much did you pay to go to that very expensive bird tracking school that you went to in California?
The school that I did, the main school that I did was actually in Washington, Washington State.
Okay.
And that was a year-long program that had the bird language as part of it. So it was just part of it. I paid. It was like, I think the tuition ended up being like $12,000 for, and we would do like 3 days a week for 10 months.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And there was another. I did do they called it a bird language intensive in California. That was like 5 days, I think, and I don't remember what they charged for that. It was like maybe $600 or something around that area.
I think you're in that range, and maybe $1,000 could be. Depends on what you want to get a sense of it, of what it would take, and what it would be worth for you. So Mike was thrilled to have 12 people for $1,000 for a weekend. So you had a $12,000 weekend. So you want to kind of, that's how you would go about kind of estimating it and seeing, and maybe you do the first one on the low end of that just to see, or maybe you try it on the high end of that. Whatever your the highest number you could think of plus 20% would probably be the right number.
Okay. All right.
So, I think that's really I think it's going to be an exciting adventure. But I want you to keep me posted on what happens, because this could be an inspiration for so many people who are in your situation, where they've got this audience of people and they're not, looking for where to go next with it. I definitely want to hear what happens. Has it already gone out?
Yes, it's gone out.
Okay, perfect.
I'll definitely keep you informed of what happened.
Yeah. Have you gotten any replies yet? Check your email. That'd be the best if we get a reply before the show's even over. The suspense is building. It's great.
Let's see. No replies yet.
Okay, good. This will be very exciting. So email me and let me know what happens, because that'll be a very exciting event.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, Brian, I'm happy we got to spend some time together here. That was I didn't know where this was going to go, but this went in a pretty good direction, and I'm pretty excited for you. I think this could be a real turning point for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was really helpful.
You are welcome. Okay, let me know, and then we'll do a little follow up and see how it all turned out.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, bye-bye.
Wow. That is the first time we've ever done anything like that live on More Cheese, Less Whiskers. So I will definitely keep you posted on what happens, but I have to applaud Brian's courage to push the send button. But I think we really had a great message. And that message, by the way, is something that you could model if you're thinking about doing live events. That's one of the things that we use as a foundational idea in our email mastery program. And I get to spend time with people crafting and wordsmithing specific emails like that to really make great offers to the list of people that you already have. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. I mentioned Mike Monday on this episode. That's a really incredible story that I think Brian will end up in the same situation. At least the thing that we'll discover is whether your audience really is on the same page as you, whether there is in any group of more than 700 or 1,000 people, there are some of those people who really like you, who really would love to spend more time with you, get a closer relationship with you, have you work with them on whatever it is that you do. So you almost can't fail by doing that. I'm excited to see what could come from you trying that. So if you'd like to continue the conversation here, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com. You can download a copy of the More Cheese, Less Whiskers book. You can also download for free a copy of Email Mastery at emailmastery.com. That is the place where you'll hear more about the email strategies that we use to engage with your audience, to get more conversational conversion from the leads that you're already generating, and really take it to the next level and become an email master. I look forward to working with you, and I am excited to come back next week with another great episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers.